Alright everybody, welcome back to another video of Bourbon Banter Evans. We're going to pick up where we left off with the rare bourbons, and in our glass right now we have Virgin Bourbon, 15 year. Justin?
101 from 93.
Yes indeed.
A little bit of pre-fire?
A little bit.
I believe that's where we left off, and it was great then. I'm assuming it's going to be just as great now.
Yes. You can't go wrong. So,
I still love that color.
What on the nose, what are you getting? Curious.
I get this kind of like a sweet caramelness.
Yes.
But again, I'm not one that talks about all these different characters or flavors. It's just like the standard, what most people can figure out. I don't do the super complex stuff, but that's the first thing. These pre-fires to me have a tendency to be really sweet.
Sweet on the nose is exactly what I get.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. It's kind of like it's that caramel, kind of like that. It's almost that woody caramel smell.
Yeah, it is. And then I've been known to describe some pre-fires with this brown sugar water, which I don't think this one has that same character just because it's a higher proof. A lot of those were 86, but this one is. Cheers to you guys. Hope you're joining in and having a pour as well. And we're going to discuss some allocated and rare bourbons part two.
Yes, we are. And guys, again, please, fellas, everybody, hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button down below so you can know when we come out with our new videos, and just to show us some love, and also to get in the comments and let us know what you're thinking.
And interact.
Yes.
And have some fun. This is all this is for. This is for no other reason than to have bourbon, enjoy it with friends, and hopefully you guys will be enjoying it with us sometime as well. We'll definitely be getting into how you guys can join in around this whole bourbon roundtable.
Yep.
Forgot to mention that on part one, but by all means, welcome back, Bourbon Roundtable.
Yep.
It has made another debut, and it just happens to be in rare and allocated video part two.
Exactly. And so we've talked about it in our second video, our control. And so, Justin, I wanted to ask you a quick question. We can't say what the control is, but how rare is the control? Or is it allocated?
So we want to know if this is rare or allocated. So I guess it's going on to the next level, and first one's done. Moving on. Our control is not rare. Our control is allocated.
It is.
Our control tastes great.
Our control is...
If our bottle could speak to you about what it would say, you would recognize it in so many ways and be confused at the same time with it being blind. So we have volunteered this decanter, which we forgot in the last videos because it was a green bag that was covering it up. It worked well. This is a Seagram's VO.
It is.
Decanter from the late 80s, early 90s. And I was nice enough to take this from my dad. He gave it to me?
Give it to? Probably give it to.
Yeah.
I think it was good.
I relieved him of duty of this bottle.
He didn't have to haul it around if he moved or anything.
So I've had this for a long time, and I've had different whiskeys in it. So we have now designated this as our control decanter. And it's actually a really cool decanter. So let me show everybody what it can do. So even back then when they come up with great ideas, it could even pour yourself a shot.
There you go.
And so that reminds me of a couple other bottles, but we'll go back into this. Matter of fact, since this is so good, we might as well take our allocated, but not rare.
Right.
It can be obtained.
It can.
I'm not saying that it's easy to come by.
No, it's not the hardest thing to find, but it's not that easy to find either.
Exactly. But we have both decided that this is the control that we want to use, and we have a little bit of a stash that we've acquired over years.
Yes.
And to make sure that we could do these videos since 2019 when we came up with this idea.
Exactly.
To make sure. So I'd say let's go ahead and pour a glass and let's banter.
After you. And I'll tell you right now, we will try this with our Virgin Bourbon. Virgin Bourbon's going to knock it out of the park.
Not even close.
Yeah. I mean...
Yeah, it's going to lose.
Yes, it is. It is. But this
doesn't matter. That's what makes it fun.
Right. This is a great bourbon.
And just for the record, because of this pour leading into video number 2, or part 2 for rare and allocated bourbons, and this is a pre-fire, can you please verify that I am wearing Elijah Craig socks?
He is wearing Elijah Craig socks.
Which is a Heaven Hill product.
It is.
And so, therefore, it is matching for our pre-fire, not our control.
Not our control.
So, cheers to everyone out there. Hope you have a glass while watching.
Yes, indeed.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And let's banter. So well balanced. And as far as the nose goes, you get you get a little bit of that proof because I know what the proof is. You know what the proof is.
I know what the proof is.
Then we get a little bit of the.
Oh, but
it's got a little depth to it.
It does. But it finishes so smooth. To me, I mean,
the rollback is just super nice. And because we know what the proof is, but you guys don't know what the proof is, and we know what the proof of this is, hands down, I'm going to go all the way in for the W.
Yes.
The rare bourbon.
Yes, the rare bourbon.
Yeah, I mean, pre-fire Heaven Hill, 15-year. Our control is great. It does not stand up to that.
No, I mean, there's no... The proof on this, it's not. It says 101. It is 101.
It drinks about an 80.
Yeah, like we said in the last video, it's an 80.
It's got that dank oak, but really good dank flavor.
Yes.
Like that old dusty flavor that a lot of dusties have. If you had them, I recommend searching
If
for
you can,
them.
if you can find one. If not, find a
God, and that caramel note.
Find a bourbon bar somewhere that has some old dusties. Try an old dusty. They're different, and they're good.
In that side by side, it makes that one taste like a oak candy.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking too. It's just pure candy after that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, quick question for you, and it's one that out of the whole allocated bourbons out there, which one of it does not make sense that's actually allocated to you?
Okay, so here we go. We're back into allocations and rare bourbons part 2.
Yeah.
So allocations that don't make sense. You wouldn't believe it if I told you this, but aged a minimum of 36 months bourbon that is allocated now, Zachariah Harris.
Really?
Zachariah Harris is Owensboro, which is owned by Sazerac. So they're the supplier, obviously.
Right.
They own that brand, and it comes out of them, which is, I think 1792 is involved with that. So do your, do a little digging. In a $16.99 is what we sell it for, half gallon.
Okay.
Or what used to be Zachariah Harris, a $9 fifth. In a $5 pint, we can't get pints or fifths in our market, and the half gallons are allocated. So we get designated a certain amount, and we're talking about we used to buy deals of this, and it is now shrunken down to almost anything. Like almost nothing. I said anything. Yeah. Uncut, unfiltered.
Yeah.
So therefore, the doesn't make sense to me allocated bottle is Zachariah Harris. So you want to drink an allocated whiskey, and you're not sure which one to drink, and you want to try it. Actually, a really good one. And I can even show you in magazines back in 2013 and 14 where it ranked higher than some of the most prestigious bourbons on the market. Well, Zachariah Harris scored 94.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was an Ultimate Spirit Challenge. It actually ranked really high.
I remember when you had it. I mean, it was on there, and you told me, you're like, all right, look, you want a good mixer? Or you just want a good bourbon? Try this. And it is. I mean, it's phenomenal. It's crazy to see what it is. I mean, for the price point and everything, how good it was.
And it's allocated.
I did not know that.
It is what we thought was mass produced. It's 36 months old. Yeah. Minimum. Because it says age and minimum on there.
Right.
And then it's if you want to call it sister company, let's call it Baby Trace.
Okay.
The next brand that I would then pull out of my can't believe it's allocated, Benchmark. Benchmark bourbon is essentially Baby Buffalo Trace.
Right.
Baby Trace. Yeah. It is the younger version. Same. It's BT1, same mash. It's 80 proof instead of 90. And it's about 4 years old. Well, they're actually doing a line extension. There's going to be like 4 to 5 different brands that are coming out in Georgia. It's been out in Indiana about a year. And those will probably be allocated.
Okay.
And we can talk about that too. I mean, you've got a top floor, a single barrel, then there's a small batch, there's a full proof, and there's possibly one more that I can't think of offhand at the moment. But those will definitely be allocated. Jeez. But regular Benchmark and regular Zachariah, we're talking about $17 to $19 half gallons.
Yeah.
Allocated. I can only get X amount of cases when available. I would say per month. Not even the case.
Not even the case.
Not even the case. It's when available.
So whenever they decide it's available,
the distributor,
when the distributor decides it's available in there, or if they have it in the warehouse, if they don't have it in the warehouse, that type of stuff.
When the delivery comes from wherever that transfer truck comes from.
Correct.
And in our case, our stuff comes out of Atlanta, and in Atlanta to Augusta. And let's just say there's 20 cases that show up in Augusta. I then get an allocation that is sent to me via the distributor that says you can get 3 cases.
Okay.
Whereas we were then a year ago trying to buy 15-case deals because it was popular and it sold well. Yeah. Because it's actually really good quality.
It is.
Both of those brands, Zachariah and Benchmark, great quality for the price points, which you probably won't find any video out there that's talking about Zachariah Harris.
No, I mean, they honestly, they probably haven't tried it. They might have, they might have not.
I'd be surprised if they did.
I mean, the price point, and I don't want to segue away from this, but I have a question whenever you finished. Price point was another thing that a question was brought up.
That's true.
So are the rare ones, are the allocated, some of the rare allocated ones, are they worth the price point?
That is extremely...
It's very subjective.
Yeah, it is very subjective. It's extremely subjective. So I was going to say, so we get this all the time in the store is, if I spend this on this product, it is, there's only this amount of 1,500 bottles. And there's some, World Whiskey Society bottles that have rolled out here lately, and they are up to 1,500 bottles. So that makes them rare just because there's only 1,500 bottles in production across the entire, whatever the market is. The market at that point could span the globe,
right? Or
it could be just the U.S. market. We don't know that. I don't know that for certain brands. I know that for some brands, but not all brands. Because we all know that the Japanese export, I just pointed here, but I meant to point here,
right,
where the virgin bourbon is, which that's more than likely the Japanese export bottle.
That's what we're thinking.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. I should have pointed right here at the glass. And so that market, there's going to be an allocation to them.
Correct.
If they do that.
Yeah, because they get their portion of it too, right?
Correct. Yeah, and it's actually a lot of them are specific brands made for them. And that's pretty cool because we don't necessarily get that, but there are specific guidelines and rules that different countries follow that we don't have, or that we do have. Right. And so it is all still bourbon, but it might be slightly different, could be different proof. To explain that, this is not anything to do with the video right now, but it is allocated, so it counts. So Blanton,
okay,
or Blantons, depending on what year you're looking for and how rare you want to go,
right,
or allocated. That is the reason I said Blanton or Blantons,
right.
Because do your research on that. You'll figure that out. There is a market that has specific bottles that we were there for when they were going to the French market, and then there are specific bottles that were going to the Japanese market, and there are specific colors to the labels.
Yes.
I don't do well with colors. To me, they look black or green, and some people would say they're green. To me, they were super dark. There's gold labels and things like that, straight from the barrel. The specific one that goes into the Japanese market is 80 proof.
Really?
80 proof Blantons.
Blantons?
Yeah. I don't know how long they've been doing that because I don't know my history that well. It goes back to like 83, 84, I believe. And so depending on how long they've been going through that market, depends on if you can find a Blanton or 80 proof. But specifically the Japanese market is an 80 proof Blanton. So that's allocated. We know that because pretty much all Blanton is.
Yeah.
And so side note, back to what we're on point and on topic with, as far as that shocks me, Zachariah Harris and Benchmark.
Yeah,
those two shock me.
To be honest with you, I did not know those two were allocated whatsoever.
And if I could point, if it's on camera, I'm not sure that it is, but there's a bottle right over here in the corner. It's Old Charter 8 year.
Yep.
That's a specific 8 year. Old Charter now is just Old Charter number 8. That's an embossed glass one. It's got the little cornstalk on it. It's a really cool glass.
Right.
And so that stuff is like pure candy. It's 80 proof, 8 years old.
Yes.
And it is just super, super good drinking bourbon.
But now it's not.
But now it's not an 8 year. It's just
it's not age stated.
8. Yeah.
It's not age stated anymore, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so Old Charter now allocated. And it's not as shocking to me as Benchmark and Zachariah Harris. Multiple. I'm talking about multi-produced.
Right.
36 months. I mean, taking a brand that was 8 years old and then allocating it makes sense. You're taking an age statement off of it. Now you're putting it out there. You have to wait for it to be your profile that you're looking for. I get that. But a 36 month.
That makes sense.
Is there that much consumption? Or is it just they're having that big of an issue with production? Yeah.
Are they running out of rickhouses?
Or they're building them constantly.
I know. So. It makes you wonder. Yeah. I don't know. But that was one. I mean, I never thought that Zachariah Harris would be
right.
one that's
so those are my two. I mean, look them up. Look up Zachariah Harris. Try it. If you find it, it's going to be worth your money as far as that goes. You'll be shocked at the quality for the price point.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you that I'm a Zachariah Harris advocate. No. I'm just letting you know good brands for little money. And some people are saying, like, what brands to look for when I can't find things? Well, if you're looking for the constant hard one to find all the time,
you're going to mess up. You're going to miss out on.
You're going to miss out on certain things. Not saying you can always find Zachariah Harris, but if you can find it and you couldn't find your Eagle Rare or your, Elijah Craig barrel proofs or your Elijah Craig toasted barrels or things like that, these bourbons are still good if you want to drink and enjoy them. And the price point says I'm not afraid to do whatever with them. If you're a bourbon and Coke fan, they don't care how you drink it in Kentucky.
They just want you to consume it.
They just want you to consume it.
Yeah. And what I love is when we go on our trips and everything, what do we always look for? We always look
Heaven
for...
Hill 6-year green label, old style, 90 proof.
And it's
so hard to get right now.
So hard to get.
Very frustrating.
Because
word is out.
Yeah, word is out on it.
Word's out.
It wasn't out, but then I mean, you got Heaven Hill. So we've had to change a little bit. We still get it when we can, but we also look for just rare. I mean, just random. I should say
not rare. Yeah, random.
Just random.
Shoot, Varial Barton 86 proof.
Yes,
we can get Varial Barton 90 proof every once in a while.
Right,
but the 86 doesn't come to our state.
No, but we just look for just randos out there, and it's amazing how good some of the random bourbons have been.
That's Varial Barton 86 proof right there. It's got the green on there, specifically the green.
Yes.
Now this is not your normal one. This is actually an age-dated 6 years. So this was a little bit older.
And it's a great bourbon.
Oh, it's fantastic for the price point. I mean, I spent a whole $13.
Yeah. And that's the fun thing. You can look for these and they can be so good and you're paying like pennies.
Yeah.
Pennies
Which
on the dollar.
is another great point is Varial Barton is another brand that we do get allocated. And we get it.
Yeah.
It's like random.
Yeah.
Cases here, 3 cases there. No cases for 6 months. But so that would be the, my answer to that question. That's a good question. I'm glad that somebody asked that question.
And thank you for asking that question out there. And please, anytime you have any questions, anything you'd like to know from us, put it in the comments. We'll try to get to it as soon as we can.
Yeah. And if we don't know it.
Yeah, if we don't, we're sorry for that. Again, guys, please hit the subscribe button down below, and we'll get to you as soon as we can with any questions you have. Another thing question that was brought up, Justin, was, what was it? It was collections versus consumption.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And we kind of hit on this a little bit in our 3rd video, but I wanted to revisit it because I don't know if we really answered the question like the person was asking.
Sure, makes sense. So collections versus consumption.
Yep.
Do we want to collect this bottle or do we want to consume this bottle? So I get asked this a lot. If I'm coming into the store and they're like, you posted this bottle, it's for sale, I've got it in my hands, should I open it and crack it and try it, or should I collect it and see where it goes? The only reason I can think of as having a collection is for display purposes or for if you're going to sell it later on to try to make money in the secondary, which, secondary exists. We're not going to pretend that it doesn't.
No.
And it's a great tool sometimes, but keep in mind there's a lot of rules and breaking that may be part of it.
Hate to say it.
So if you're not into it,
sometimes it's illegal.
It is, and so if you don't want to take that risk, then don't do it. Right. So consuming versus collecting.
Yep.
Certain bottles are very collectible because they will only exist once.
Like anything that is Sitzwiller, probably.
You said it, not me.
I mean, honestly, if I could find something that was Stitzelweller, pure Stitzelweller juice, I would collect it.
You collect it, yes.
I would not consume it. I would collect it.
I got lucky enough in my travels that I came across a pure Stitzelweller, 1960 distilled, 1968 bottled. So it's an 8-year bottled and bond Varial Fitzgerald. If you don't know the lineage to Varial Fitzgerald, we'll look up Pappy Van Winkle. Everybody knows him or just what he sold originally. And so that was his brand that he sold. Yeah. And so that is pure Stitzelweller. And so that's
a collect.
But eventually, I have to say, at one point or another, at any given moment, you catch me at the right time, it becomes no longer collectible, and I'm going to open the top and pour it. Well, and so there is no bounds for me. I do have bottles I've held onto for a long time.
Yes.
And I'm waiting for that moment. But if that moment never occurs, then that is when I know it's collectible. But what I can say is if a bottle is out there, and I was a post at the store like I am known to do, which is an advertising tool for me.
Yes.
And so I put it out there and say, these are available. Do you open it or do you drink it? That's going to be personal. Are you a bottle cracker or are you a bottle collector? Do you like to see them sit and dust them and they look pretty? I have certain bottles that I like to look at.
Right.
And it's kind of like that wow factor. When you come over to somebody's house and see them, it's like, wow, look what they've got. But if they're all closed or open or sealed,
yeah,
you might not get to try them. But if they're all open, then I hope you follow some of the science and consume them within a certain time before they're no good.
Right.
And that's just my opinion on that. And I'm on that side of the science that you need to consume them within a certain time. That can also lead to a different video as well.
Right.
But ones that come out and then they say they're like one of 1,500 or one of 500 or bottle 378 of bottle 400. Those bottles are the ones that you have to make the choice of deciding if they're rare or if they're collectible.
And that's also, it's always a personal choice. That's why this is such a subjective question. Is really depends on the person. We can sit here and I mean, you're talking about yours. I can tell you mine. Most everything I buy is to straight up one day open the top, drink it down, and enjoy the memories of it.
Perfect example is what we said in the last video, not the last allocated one, but in the second video that we did, is the birth.
Yes.
That you open that bottle for. And that bottle would be considered rare, but you open it, you enjoyed it, and then now you have the memories. And
I'll always
now you know what it tastes like.
Know where I was when I actually had it.
Yeah, and curiosity always is going to get me on the collectible versus consumable side. I'm always going to be curious of what it tastes like. And so it's really going to be outweighing my collectible.
Yeah.
Do I have bottles that I've held on to? Yeah, just random. That they just never got to the opening stage. But I remember, if I got time, we'll throw in a quick story there. And around, I want to say 2014 or 15, somebody will have to fact check me on that. Denver beat the Patriots. In the AFC Championship game.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was 14 or 15. I want to say maybe 15. I can't remember. It could have been 14. I can't remember exactly. But I was like, whatever bottles I have upstairs, which my collection wasn't big. I mean, I've got associates, customers, or friends, or people I know that I'm not associates or friends with, but they've told me or showed me photos that have multi-hundred bottle collections, which is really cool.
Right.
And I also have people that I know that have 100 bottles open.
Yeah.
Which is even cooler because
crazy.
Then you have a chance of trying that if they are open. So my bottles, I keep on hand. They're at that moment back then, I had maybe 60. And I'm not saying that's a lot. I'm not saying that 10 is a little. No. I'm not saying that 100 is a lot. It is just on what you want in your house and what you have the means to do. But I did say, if the Patriots lose and Denver wins it, go pick whatever bottle you want. Whatever bottle.
There you go.
Whatever bottle I had.
There you go.
At the moment, and we'll open it and we will toast it right now. And I'm gonna actually finish this with. Go ahead and mention on some allocated stuff because I'm gonna grab the bottle real quick and show everybody.
Okay. Well, I mean, one thing that always gets me is everything. I think most people when they look at, they're sitting there talking about allocation. One of the first things they always kind of go to is BTAX.
It's funny that you mentioned BTAC because they chose a 2014 Hazmat William LaRue Weller, which is a BTAC. So that bottle, as you can see, is completely empty. Now, you may have said, Justin, why is that not hanging upside down on your true collection, which is my empty collection?
Yeah.
And so the reason that is because I had another bottle that took its place. And so, you have to, find one that you do or don't like or like better. This bottle at Hazmat, which is over 140 proof, at the age that it was, which they're all over 12 at this point, it was like drinking purifier water. I know you people out there, and by you people, I mean anybody that consumes bourbon. Yes. You guys are going to say, I'm crazy for saying it's like purifier. I don't care. 140 proof Weller is hot.
Yeah. I mean, but then again, like we've always said, guess what? Everybody has their own tastes.
Right.
And nobody's taste is wrong. It's your taste.
Yeah, it's your taste. And I'm glad I got to try it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we opened it. This came from a friend, actually. He was moving, and he was like, hey, I've got this. I bought it at this store. We won't name that name. We won't name any names in this. He's like, I got $100 invested in it, but I've got more than one, and I have to move. I don't have the space. You want to buy one? And I was like, yes, I'll buy that from you for $100.
Right.
So you don't have to move it, because he didn't want to have extra weight. And so there were several options that were available. And so I took that one in the collection. So I just put it on the shelf. Right. Everybody knows I'm not a huge William LaRue fan. I don't dislike it. I don't think it's bad bourbon. It's still great. You should definitely look for it. But it's just not my favorite. And this particular one, Hazmat, it was hot.
Yeah. And I've had close to Hazmat on at least one other BTAC. And I'll tell you what, it's hot. They're hot. But
they can be. But some of them are great.
Some of them are great.
Yeah, some of them are great.
And to me, it's really every year they're a little different. And so we're talking about allocated. those are allocated. Rare, some of the hazmats that are very good.
That's
some
definitely
of the
rare.
That's a rare one.
Yeah.
And so that's why I wanted to mention BTAC in this, is because a lot of people ask about BTACs.
So I think, and cheers to you guys out there. Hope you're joining in with a drink with us.
Yeah.
It always makes this more exciting if you guys are having a pour too. That being said, BTACs are definitely what I would consider on the rare line, just because if you have some of these bottles, they're only up to 17,000 bottles produced per season or per release. If you do the division on that, 17,000 bottles amongst 350 something million Americans.
Good luck.
Good luck. All right, that's just America.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not just coming here.
Yeah, I'm assuming, which never assume because it makes it anyhow. Yeah, never assume. So I am guessing that these bottles are being released to certain other country markets. Like by other country markets, I mean like Europe, Japan.
That would be my guess also.
Yeah, because I mean everybody wants these now. They're some of the most sought after. And BTAC, if you guys aren't familiar with BTAC, it's Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. There's about 5 different ones in that.
Right.
And so there's a Thomas Handy.
Yep.
There's a Saz 18.
George.
There's a George T. Stagg.
Right.
There's an Eagle Rare 17.
Right.
And there's the William LaRue that we just showed earlier.
Yes, indeed.
And so that's part of the BTAC collection. And so that is definitely along the lines of rare just because of the pure numbers that are produced each year. And so you could be like, nah, they're produced every year. They're not rare. Okay. You could be right. You could be right. They're not that rare. They're produced every year, and every year they go to certain bars. Every year those bars open them. Every time those bars open them, they're consumed. The numbers dwindle down. So of that maybe 17,000, there could be a low yield one year, only 10,000 bottles.
Right.
And then if that's the case, now you're opening them and consuming them. Eventually, if you open them at your home, which we hope you do, and enjoy them with friends and family or whoever, associates, that's one less bottle. So the people that do hold on to those, do they collect them or do they drink them? We drink them. That hazmat will never be duplicated again.
Nope. If
it is, it could be similar proof, but it's not going to be the same profile.
Eventually, they could do something similar to it. But
Speaking of that, I'm going rare. So back to the.
But that one will never be produced. That specific bottle, they will never be able to get the same flavor profile or anything of that nature.
Right.
Close to it.
They could get super close.
Right.
And they could probably get the exact same proof if they wanted to. Right. There's ways of tricking the barrel proof, and then of course they're NCF and things like that. But it's not going to be identical, and that's pretty much the way it is with BTACs.
Yeah.
You know.
And so it's fun. Funny that you said Eagle Rare 17 because I've got an Eagle. I'm kind of I like BT1. Like it, and I love
some BT1.
Yep, I love Eagle Rare, and so this one right here. Wanted to bring this out. Allocated.
So you're trying to say that bottle is better than my bottle?
Well, I think this is the best bottle I have right now.
That's the best bottle I have right now.
Yeah.
That's funny you say that because I also have a 10-year bottle.
Oh.
And it's Henry McKenna. So I'm going Heaven Hill 10-year versus your Buffalo Trace produced 10-year.
Yeah, so I guess we need to take this,
I think we need to take this to Bourbon Court.
I think we do. And
so I challenge your bottle versus my bottle with a judge that will judge our bottles. And I will convince that judge in Bourbon Court from Bourbon Banter Evans as to why my bottle is better than your bottle.
Well, you can try. But I'm pretty sure that this one is going to beat this one. And I will convince the judge of that.
All right. Then I challenge you officially in Bourbon Court. Heaven Hill 10-year single barrel versus what used to be a 10-year single barrel. Now it's kind of slightly different. 10-year from Buffalo Trace. Both allocated. Some consider rare. They shouldn't be. They're just allocated in certain markets. And we will definitely find the winner from a random judge in Bourbon Court, which is our next thing to talk about, what Bourbon Court is.
Yep.
But I challenge you formally in Bourbon Court.
It's challenge accepted. We'll see what's on the docket for Bourbon Court. This will definitely be on the docket. But Bourbon Court is something that we want to do to take different bourbons against each other. And what we would like to do is you guys let us know anything that you would like to see us try to compete against each other. Eventually, we obviously can't be the judges because
there's only 2 of us right now.
Right.
But we will have another guest person.
Yes, we will.
This is what's going to segue into inviting you guys in to trying some Bourbon Banter Evans at Bourbon Court.
Yes.
We will take your bourbon that you want to challenge and get you involved and see if you can beat us into challenging the judge, which it can be anybody. It's not always going to be the same judge.
No.
Sometimes he could be the judge. I could be the judge.
We might bring
you could be the judge.
Right.
We might bring you in.
Exactly.
The purpose is we're not just going to rate bourbons like everybody else does. We're going to make it a little bit different, and we're going to have a presentation as to why our bourbon at this moment will beat your bourbon at this moment.
And I think it's a great way to bring in other people, definitely try different bourbons, and to basically just say, mine's better than yours.
Right. And it could be at that moment. And that's the fun part about different people's palates is everybody's palate is different at different times. You could eat a really spicy food and it would influence that. And if you do that, I'm going to win.
Yep, I agree.
So I'm going to slip the judge $1.
I got 10, so. But no, honestly, guys, that's going to be another thing that we do for Bourbon Banter Evans. You'll start seeing Bourbon Court out there. Going to be our next video after this.
I think it's going to be a great time. All I have to do is make sure the judge is ready to go and figure out who the judge is, invite him in, and make sure he understands that mine's better than yours.
Yeah, well, and then I'll make sure that the judge gets my $10 and I'll win. So we're good to go.
Well, can we agree that the control is good, but definitely the rare whiskey wins?
Yeah, the control is almost gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, the rare whiskey, I mean, I'm sorry, you just can't beat it. Guys, thanks a lot. Again, like us, hit the subscribe button, and that way you can know when we have other videos coming out.
Heck yeah. Again, this is only part 2. If there's more information that you guys want to hear, reach out to us, let us know. If you want to join in on the Bourbon Roundtable, we have brought it out for part 2 and part 1 of rare and allocated bourbons, or vice versa, allocated and rare bourbons. Let us know if you want to join in on the roundtable for discussion. Some of you guys have mentioned that. We will find a way to get you guys in here. Don't you worry.
Exactly.
And it may be in Bourbon Court. So if it is in Bourbon Court, make sure your bourbon is ready because it will be trusted, or not trusted, it will be judged.
It will be judged, and
it will be picked, and do not get butthurt.
And there will be a winner.
Yes.
There will not be ties. There will be a winner.
And there is no getting mad at bourbon.
No, not at all.
It is only enjoying it, good times, good friends, and knowing that I'm going to beat yours. But, okay, we'll go rare whiskey.
Yes.
Rare bourbon. So cheers.
Cheers.
And thank you guys. Cheers to you as well.
Thank you.